Welcome to the Big Boneyard. Enter at your own risk.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
Man, how about everybody in the whole wide world and jumped in here and started hollering at us here on, hey, it's Sunday, so y'all know what time it is. It is that time for joining myself and Archbishop here on the Big Boneyard.
What up? What up, though?
Yeah, say that shit again. Man, say what?
What up, though?
Man, look, I gotta work on my Detroit, man. I gotta work on getting it right. I gotta get it right. But hey, thanks everybody for joining us here on the Big Boneyard tonight. You got myself and Archbishop 1%er. We're gonna try to, chop it up on a couple of little things we've been talking about, a little something we're gonna share with y'all. And of course, needless to say, folks, we definitely want to hear from y'all tonight. Question, comment. This is a conversation. The conversation we're gonna have tonight is definitely something that I think everybody can everybody that's watching this tonight, you definitely are going to have an opinion or an experience about it or something like that. So if you get a minute or you think of something that if this kind of hits you, don't be shy. Y'all give us a call. The phone number is, what is the phone number? Okay, phone number is 310-870-8994. And of course, we definitely want to hear from you. If you get a minute, you want to share something. And of course, like what we call it, our disclaimer, we definitely want to say, we're going to talk about all kinds of different things as per usual, but these are our opinions. This is me. This is Archbishop. We're going to say what we got to say. These are personal opinions. These are not a reflection of any of the opinions or positions of our organizations or anything like that. Same thing for Shaggy or anybody else who might join us here tonight. So we had to get that out of the way. And we see a lot of wonderful folks coming to join us right now. But I'll tell you what we're talking about tonight. And Archbishop, this was I know we was talking about it, but this is a thing that you had actually brought up. The how'd you call it? Perception versus reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so what we figured out is now the perception in my head is that I'm incredibly good looking. And the reality of it is I'm better looking than I thought I was, or I might be saying that wrong. I'm not sure. I might be saying it wrong, but I'll tell you the way we did the description. So like if you're looking at this on one of the different platforms, it said, hey, this guy, he just got him a brand new Harley. He joined a new club and got a brand new patch. So according to some, that means he's about 7 feet tall. He's bulletproof now. He's going out with and dating Sofia Vergara. And now he's got a 12-inch dick, apparently, because, all those things happen. So that's the thing. So, well, some folks, according to some folks, that's what it is. But, so is that perception or is that reality? That's what we're going to try to figure out a little something tonight. So we're going to delve into all of those sort of things. And I know a lot of folks out there know exactly what I'm talking about. But as far as motorcycle clubs, you know, that's what we're going to look into. And Archbishop, I know we was talking about this. You have a list, right? And I tried to make one. I tried to make a list, but you got like a real grown up biker list of those things, man. So what kind of stuff do you have on that list? Or like, matter of fact, how about we go down it a little bit? What's the first thing on that list?
Let's see. We talking about perception versus reality.
Mm-hmm.
Dealing with bikers. You know,
Right.
I mean, because of course, you know, it's a lot of legs to this conversation. We're gonna end up venturing off. I know this already, but we're gonna try to keep it on it. Okay, first one. All bikers are drug addicts.
Okay,
First
well,
one.
let's investigate that. Well, that's just true, ain't it? Of course, it's true. Do you know any bikers that's not drug addicts?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know a lot of not drug addicts. I ain't a drug addict. Shit.
I know, right? Neither am I. But I'll tell you what, depending on who you're talking to, they're going to be convinced in order to be a biker, you got to be a drug addict. Isn't that part of that's in the handbook, ain't it?
Yeah, I know. I don't get it confused now. You know what I mean? I take my happy pill in order to walk around and deal with you fuckers every day. But you know what I mean? That's prescribed. That's
right.
That's different.
Are you telling me I'm late?
Yeah, just a little bit. Hey, I'm going to shoot you the thing. Jump on there. Are you? Huh?
Okay, so I thought it was 8 o'clock y'all's time.
No, 7 o'clock our time. But we're bikers, so we can't actually tell time. Hey, for everybody who's listening, that's Shaggy. He'll be here in a sec.
All right, man.
Come on, man.
Okay, so how about I do this?
Yeah.
Let me just read off my 10.
Okay.
And then the ones that I may not have that you have, then you can just add to it.
Okay.
We go like that. Okay, so first one we got on there, all bikers are drug addicts.
Right.
Second one, bullies.
Oh, hold on. I didn't have that one. Hold on, let me get that one. That was a good one. All right, no, go ahead.
Third one, all bikers are criminals.
Okay, I had that one.
Okay. Fourth one, all of us are in a gang.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
Okay. Fifth one, bikers don't have jobs.
Okay.
Sixth one, bikers are rude.
Okay.
7, and this one may be true. This one's actually true. Bikers cuss a lot. That's true.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
I also got
and everything.
Bikers don't have rules.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, look.
One government for another one.
This is some good shit. All right. What else you got?
I got biker females are manly or they hoes.
Oh, hold on. Females, manly or all right, shit.
And my last one is bikers have a lot of tattoos.
Hey,
those are my 10 misconceptions.
All right, so we're gonna talk about.
That's why I said one of them out there is actually true though.
Yeah. Well, see, it depends because the whole thing is perception versus reality. Because sometimes perception is reality. But anyway, let me throw out mine. So mine was kind of similar. And when you said bullies, gangs, and rude, I said bikers are bad people / police records, etc. The next one was the tattoos. Then. Now here's I don't know if this is a myth or what, but I said that bikers ride motorcycles because there's that question because some people don't believe it because they look at certain clubs and they wouldn't believe that a motorcycle club actually has motorcycle riders in it. But we'll come back to that one. Bikers are only men. Mention that. And also, bikers, my last one, because I only had 5 here. But the last one is bikers are anti-establishment, anti-government, and not patriotic. So we got some shit to work on. All right, Shaggy, Uncle Shaggy, thank you for joining us, sir. We got Big Bone 1%er, Archbishop 1%er, and Uncle Shaggy motherfucking 1%er in the house.
So this is
What's
a
going on,
top
Shaq?
10 of what's happening, Archbishop. This is a top 10 of what people perceive us as.
Well, all right. Look, first of all, I didn't get
Yeah,
10. I feel bad about
just
that.
basically just basically well, yeah, basically what you're saying is what people perceive
Okay.
motorcycles. I
So
mean, well, actual bikers to be. I ain't gonna say motorcycle because that's a difference there. But actual bikers, this is what they
Right.
perceive it to be.
Now, the
number
other thing
one would be
I was going to say,
bullies.
yeah, yeah.
Number two, womanizers.
Oh,
Three,
womanizer.
thug gangsters. Four, we control everything that has to do with motorcycling. Five, um, we rape and pillage anything that we want. So, being we take whatever we want when we want. Six, we have no respect for anybody but ourselves and our club brothers or our club
Mm.
members.
Hey, what was that number 2 you said?
We're womanizers.
No, after that, after womanizer. Before control, after womanizer. I don't know if you. Anyway, no, go ahead. I'll figure it out later.
We'll rewind it.
If somebody caught that, tell me what the hell that second thing he said.
So, seven, that we are the masters of the world and we're the only men alive. And because we boast about how we're the only men alive. Eight, we don't care about nobody but our clubs. Nine, we are the only ones who can say who can be here and who cannot be here.
Okay.
And 10, the motorcycle is not the core of why we do what we do, but it is the tool in which we become the mafia on wheels.
Okay. All right. Cool. So shit, we got a lot of stuff to work on. All right. So
Yeah, so we're just gonna jump into different ones, and we're just gonna take your pick out of different ones. We're gonna talk about it.
Yep.
But let me be the first one, though.
Go
Let me be
ahead.
the first one to talk about one.
Yes, sir.
When you talk about bikers don't have jobs,
Right.
now this is for the ones that really don't understand what this MC stuff is about. Because you know, I mean, we have people in this that's listening that doesn't have anything to do with the MC scene whatsoever.
Right.
You know, are there bikers that don't have jobs? Surely, there's people all over the place don't have a job.
Why are
But
you looking at me like that?
you can. I ain't even say you see, but being that you brought it up, Tommy. But
At one
people
time, a
don't realize
motorcycle
that
club camp.
this is not a free thing to do. You know what I mean? These bikes cost money. These trips cost money. These hotels cost money. You know what I mean? Hitting state lines for anniversaries, national meetings, whatever. That shit costs money. You know, paying $400 or $500 a month for your shiny bike outside, that costs money. You know what I mean? It's not free. We're not out here stealing bikes. We're not out here stealing bikes. You know? Right. So for people to think that, you know, that you don't have to have a job, but then too, you also got to look at it like this. You have people that's in motorcycle clubs that comes from all different walks of life. You have doctors, you have lawyers, you have construction workers. You know what I mean, the list, military people. I mean, the list goes on and on. You got a large plethora of people that all come together and make this biker thing what it is.
Right.
It's not for the faint of heart, but it's not for somebody that, you know, now, can you actually scumbag and go from place to place and have your old bike and move around? Sure you can. Right. I mean, and we got people to do that, but that's not the majority. You know what I mean? The majority of everybody that's out here working a 9 to 5, whether you're working for somebody else or you're working for yourself or you're a truck driver or you out here on this road, you bringing in some kind of income. You know what I mean? Because it's more than just this biker shit. We got families too.
Well, Shaggy, let me ask you, because you don't like that whole work thing, do you? Is that something you
No,
don't?
actually I don't, but I have to do it.
Right.
And you know, it's just and I've met big clubs across this country, well-known clubs across this country. Since you know Rico kind of come out there and nip a couple of clubs in the ass, they require like their members to prove that they got a job and have a source of income that's legitimate. Clubs aren't doing this illegal crap like it's being portrayed. Um, it's impossible. The technology has absolutely um, killed the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. Like I love listening to the old guys talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh man, we get on the old panhead and just after rebuilding it, we go up to the old local titty bar and get a old girl and throw her in the back of the bike. We ride halfway across
Yeah.
the country and she'd work a pole so I could get a little more money so I can go across the rest of the way across the country. Well, by then that old panhead's taking an ass beating. So, well, I got to put her back on the pole so I can rebuild it so I can get my ass back,
Yep.
I got a meeting in 6 months, whatever the case may be. That was in the
Mhm.
60s and 70s. I mean, that was during the sex and, the free sex and the drug craze and all that shit like that. Technology changed that. Generations have changed that. The mindset that people have about your humanity has changed. I mean, um, you know, today's day and age where women aren't being women and like
Mhm.
my parents, like we just buried my grandma yesterday and one of the things,
Oh,
she's
man,
90 years
condolences.
old. Appreciate it. But one of the things I always learned from my grandma and grandpa is my grandmother never worked. She was the household, raised 9 kids and she cooked, she cleaned, she did. My grandfather, I don't even think he knew how to turn on a stove, let alone. I mean, when they got a microwave, he just thought that was just another TV at first in the kitchen. He didn't know what to do with it. But that's generational change. Um,
Right.
Women are in the workplace; they have to be. You just can't afford to live without two incomes coming in, whether you have one kid, 10 kids, or no kids. You
Yeah.
know, and the biker lifestyle has had to, adjust and change, and as generations change, so does the freedoms we hold dear. So does the ideology, the way we think. You can't go out there and do the things that the old guys did and the founders did from the clubs way back then. Man, we'd all love to do that. I mean, shit. I mean, that's one of the things that drew us all here in the beginning is all the cool shit we heard about and seen on TV or stories we've heard. I mean, something drew us here, and to be able to do what they did 30, 40 years, 50 years ago, man, the stories are great, but they're just stories and they don't apply today.
Man, you know what? So when I was coming into this a long time ago, I heard the same thing from some different diamonds, completely different clubs, but they said the same stuff. And what they were saying is every club supports themselves differently. And you had some clubs that owned a motorcycle shop. You had some clubs that was out there, back in the old days, they was selling that green. And then you had some who, had some, and again, I'm speaking way back in the day, like you just said, once upon a time, the club and those brothers in that club might have done some of anything. But flash forward, it's 2023 now. Happy New Year, everybody, by the way. 2023 now. And in real life, you know, most guys that I know, uh, no matter what club they're in, most of these cats are like you just said, Archbishop. They're punching a clock, or they're running their own business, or they might be retired. A lot of the military guys are retired, but you got some kind of verifiable real life source of income because again, you ain't gonna pay for that beautiful motorcycle. You ain't just snapping your fingers and running to 10 strip clubs and making your payment every month. It doesn't really work that way, especially when you got all kinds of other stuff going on at the same time. And don't get me wrong, I'm not now here's what happens on everything we're going to talk about tonight. Every misconception or every misperception sometimes is based in a little bit of reality. And they'll take a little bit of reality, sometimes a big bit of reality, or sometimes some of that old stuff, and they say that must be true because of this little bit of thing or from something that happened 50, 60, 70 years ago. One of those things that, like you just mentioned about the no job thing, Shaggy, you just kind of identified it. This guy who's going to jump on that panhead back in 1962 and rip and run across the country with some old lady on the back of his bike or, who's going, yeah, So flash forward, somebody might believe, hey, these guys don't got no job. They're always on the road. I've been told that many a time because I'm on the road a lot, going to these different things. But I was in the Marine Corps and a whole lot of other things that helps me to, uh, pay the what's the thing my mother used to say, pay the cost to be the boss, like the pay for the lights and the bikes and the this, that, and the other thing. And like you said, Archbishop, that shit is not cheap. But anyway, that was just my little 2 cents on it. AB, give us another one. What's the next subject? Or the next one of these 10-point joints we got.
Let's go with the criminal element that all bikers are criminals.
They are.
Well, that's a classic misperception.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, you know, just like with anything else, you got your share of everything. You know what I mean? Some people been locked up, some ain't. Some ain't never jaywalked before. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
you got a broad spectrum. You know what I mean? But not everybody that's in this lifestyle are criminals. You know what I mean? So
Right.
but the overall persona though, you see them walking around and they got the vest on, they got the jewelry on and the
Yeah.
boots and everything else. They look rough and tough and look like they can spit nails and shit concrete.
Mm.
But some of them won't throw a brick in a blackout. You know
Right.
what I mean? That's reality.
Right.
That's
Yep.
reality. But but to get back, everybody has their own degree of, and a lot of people think because you're dealing with one percenters, and by right, we're not supposed to have rules, and we don't follow the rules of order. We don't follow shit, but what we believe in, which
Right.
is which is which is true to a certain extent.
Okay.
But
You kind of slid
we can
into
also
another one.
but
But
we
go
can
ahead.
also move around and do what we need to do without going to jail.
Right. Right. I think what happens is the misconception uh, about that, the criminalistic thing. So a little bit of truth versus what's really going on. The Boy Scouts every now and then has a scout leader that commits a crime, and it's not going to make national news because he did it, because he might just be some guy who got him a DUI.
No, it took 50 years, so they could take 2 years to do some advertisements that finally went away. But
Yeah.
apparently, the Boy Scouts are being touched a little too closely.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. That's kind of my point. My point is that it don't matter whether we're talking about the Catholic Church, the Boy Scouts, or the damn PTA. There's a lot of organizations who might have a person who did a crime in it, but that does not by default make them a criminal organization.
Well, so
Yep.
now you're playing the one bad apple in the barrel doesn't necessarily ruin the bushel, and
Well, no, I
so
mean,
that's where the
I'm
public
saying
gets stuck with
right,
this whole genre. Is well, you got this one guy who's doing this, well, he's in your club. Why don't you get rid of him? Well, because it's not hurting the club, he's hurting himself. And
right.
we do our best we can for our brothers, but the fact of the matter is, we're grown men. You know, you're held to a standard, and you're willing to do the time, so be it. You're on your own.
Yeah.
It sucks that it has to be that way, but you know, the crime thing is another one of those things that technology has definitely um, played a role in squelching down a lot of the crime. I mean, if they look at the crime in bikers from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, into about the mid 2000s, when technology was starting to really ramp up, they're going to find it. I mean, it's already statistically proven that the dramatic drop and the amount of bikers that went to work because they just couldn't do those fun-loving things they felt was part of their, keeping their
Yeah.
lifestyle the way they wanted to live it.
And look,
So bikers out here working ain't wanting to work that 9 to 5, punch that
yeah.
clock. We'd rather be out riding motorcycles and doing what we do, living our free life. But truth be told, got to have that paycheck,
I think one of
because
the part of the
the old guys
confusion.
I talked to that used to buy motorcycles for $25 at the pop,
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can't buy no $25 motorcycle anymore. I think the
Oh yeah.
cheapest in a Harley Davidson for a used one, $10,000, $12,000, and the new ones are more
Man,
than some houses.
you can't buy a starter for $25, let alone the whole bike. But I'll tell you, I think that goes back again to one of these things is that see, it's sexy to believe all of this crazy stuff with these bikers, but again, a little bit, you take a little bit of truth, a little bit, and folks want to blow that all out of proportion. But the truth of the matter is that yeah, again, this is an expensive lifestyle, and like the fellow told me back in the day, hey, you can't ride your motorcycle if you behind bars, so try to stay the hell up on out of there, you know. And it
I
sounds
got
simple
taught
enough, but
by
yeah,
I got taught by a real old one percenter 23 years ago, and he had just gotten out of prison, and he had been in his motorcycle club 30 years. Well known guy. He's still in his club. I believe he's still alive. He said, "Man, you can't serve your club in prison. You can't take care of your family in prison." He said, "I just did a 15-year bid or something of that nature, and
yeah,
my club may have took care of me while I was in prison, but my family, even though the club tries to do the best that they can, family pushes themselves away from the club a lot of the times, and they fend for themselves, and you come out of jail, sometimes alone." And that family, really hurts. And them old guys I listen to when they talk about that shit, man.
yeah,
Better serve your family and your club by being out of prison. Does that make you a smarter, criminal? I don't know. I'm not a criminal. I mean, yeah, I've made mistakes in the past. I've paid the price for them, but and most of the people I run around with, that show no criminality that I've seen. I mean, other than withstand our ground, and every now and again, men fight.
right. So Fireball, want to give this to both of
That's the
y'all.
one I forgot. Yeah.
Oh, Fireball. Hey,
Mhm.
Fireball says, yeah, I know, right? That's a good one. Fireball says bikers are, he says bikers are racist also. Now, don't forget that one because apparently we're sitting around, we hate everybody. But we've got our favorites to hate on. Apparently that's a thing. Archbishop, is that a thing?
Yes and no.
Perception or
Yes and
reality?
no.
Okay.
Yes and no. It really ought to. I mean, it really all depends. I mean, well, let me go. Let me say that to say this.
Mm,
In this day and age, you would think that that is not what's going on, and this is not just MC world. This is just society in general.
right,
You
right,
would think that this is not going on, but there, but it still is. You know, what I mean, there's still fractions of that is that's going around, and
yeah,
is that going to be excluded from the motorcycle world? Absolutely not. I mean, it's the if this is a part of you, then it pat. I mean, it goes right along with you, and you carry that in there. So um, we've talked about this several times on this show, me, you, and Shaggy,
yeah,
that that you know shit like that has to change, and it's a united front. It's not about black, white, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Australian, whatever. It's we're talking about us as a people,
hey, fuck them
us
Amish
being
shit. Fuck them
being
Amish shit.
being
Man, they can build a house. I don't know why you put down the Amish. Their
No, I'm
cart's
just
getting
right.
away from time to time. You go too fast past their horses, they freak out a little bit. But
I don't know. They don't got no
Right.
horsepower. Different. No, go
So
ahead. No,
I
sorry.
mean, it's about everybody being equal under the law.
Right.
You know, and so is that something that actually takes place? Does racism still exist? Sure it does. I mean, there's some systemic racism in a little bit of everything. Hell, your job, there's somebody in there that don't like you. You
Mm,
know what I mean? Just for the color of your skin, that they couldn't tell you one thing about you. You know what I mean? Couldn't name one thing about you other than the fact that you black or Puerto Rican, or I don't like white boys, or I don't do, you know what I mean? Whatever.
right. Right.
So so yeah, I mean, it's there, but it's, you know what I mean, but it's our job as people that actually have fucking sense to be able to cut that generational curse. I
Right.
put it that way.
I was
I'd
thinking.
say this.
No, go ahead.
Here's a quick spin on this. I would say 20 years ago, very prevalent, very prevalent. Um, 10 years ago, well, 12 years ago, when I met uh, or ran into the first black club I ever met. And I was one of those guys like, holy shit, you're a black club. There's such things as that. Well, come to find out, a little education, a little research. Man, they've been around forever. It's no different than the white side. But to even do more research to know that they were pretty, together, all races in the beginning, and then, during the civil rights movement, that clubs segregated. It was just part of the times.
Yeah.
Then we get to our generation where, I watched a very good show the other day. It's called Generation X. It's on Netflix, isn't it? Here, Netflix. Generation X, no, National Geographic with the Disney Channel, and it
Okay.
goes through a bunch of stuff. And in the very first show, it explains Generation X perfectly, which we're all Generation X from 1961 to 1980. And
Right.
in that, we were the first generation to deal with a loss of a president, uh, the racism and death of Martin Luther King and what they were doing in that time frame, the music change and disco change to where drugs become very prevalent, um, the crack epidemic, the AIDS epidemic, the end of the Cold War, um, dealing with grunge music, which I'm a metal guy, and I tell you, grunge still sucks to this day. But we went through all these genres in our life, and it wasn't like our parents who were raised a certain way, whether they were raised racist or raised this way or raised whatever. It was the sign of the time. Our generation is the one generation that wasn't taught or had to live with being put down our throat. Well, you don't go on that side of the fence. It might have started that way, but as we grew and got older, as our, it's 2023, I can't believe sometimes we're still talking about this shit.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in the aspect of our club life, it was a black club here locally, and the club I was in prior to being an invader, and then another club that was a prominent one particular club. We all three got together and said, "Look, nobody's saying you got to integrate the clubs, but you need to knock down the barriers because the barriers are very and still are very prevalent." Um, and what sense does that make? I mean,
Right.
if we're the generation that grew up with these things that I just mentioned in the show, that's very factual. I mean, it's probably one of the best shows I've seen as far as documentary goes of our generation. The important part of it was what Martin Luther King Jr. did is he started his little small movement, and then it wasn't just black people that got the civil rights movement; it was the country got it done. The people who got involved with it. How we're going to get people to get a different perspective and perception of motorcycle clubs and motorcycle club members is how we collectively, you know, police ourselves, conduct how we conduct ourselves, and one, the racist thing is I always chalk it up to what part of the country you grew up with, and sometimes I will even be as ignorant to go as what your education level,
Yeah. Yeah.
or if you served in the military, because I'm gonna tell you what, they're either racist in the foxhole.
Yeah, facts, facts. We all say it. Like in the Marine Corps, it was uh you had you better not call nobody if you had to refer to a Marine, it was a dark green Marine or a light green Marine, which was a little rough for them Dominicans and Asians and stuff because they had to fall in. That's all you had. Dark green, light green. That was it. That was about as much as we were literally allowed to say back then. But I'll tell you. So we got a Facebook user says on that subject says it's our job to make our kids less racist and less ignorant. And Soldier from Hard Knocks is saying, "Good evening, gentlemen. Each one teach one." Yeah, that's some
Absolutely.
big goodness right there. Each one teach one. Let's see.
So the
Dave.
way with those quotes right there, the way I kind of look at that is the old guys taught us.
Yeah.
Now it's our time to teach the next generation coming up.
Oh
And
yeah.
everybody, eh, the one misconception about bikers is we don't care about the next generation or we don't care about, the future of this lifestyle. That is the most biggest concept and bullshit deal is because they do care. Them old guys didn't waste their time teaching us to be the leaders we've become
Misconception.
for us just to drop the ball. So, we're here. They try to make us better by making us better men, better brothers, better servants to our clubs, better people as a whole. So it's our job to make the next group a better group,
Right on.
better leaders, better. And so it's that pay it forward type thing. It's that being
Yep.
a leader, a mentor, or whatever, and just stepping up and just doing what needs to be done. And just like Ira said there, 1%ers have less than 2% felony conviction rate. That is a proven fact. We have the numbers from the MPP survey,
Yeah.
and
Folks should do that
uh,
survey, by the way. Definitely, if you haven't done it, please
the
do it.
new one's out, and next weekend I will be talking a lot about it.
Right on. I'll tell you, in regard to that, one of the things, and I know y'all have heard me talk about this before, and I'm starting to get less heat about the statement where I was talking about. I said, hey, if you're a single mom, raising a boy child on your own, connect with a good MC, your local MC, connect with them, and let them meet that kid. Let them have some influence over him to kind of, man them up a little something, point them in the right direction, give them, because it's difficult for a woman to raise a man. Not impossible. I'm not saying that. No, that's not a diss on none of the. So before y'all start writing and stuff, it's not a diss on single moms at all. It's just saying that there's certain things that a young man is going to get from a grown ass man, and this is one of those things, But good. So Archbishop, what's next on that list? Because this is you got a good list. Well, I think we all got a good list, but I like yours a lot.
Let's do this one here, since I've seen a couple comments on here that that biker girls are manly or hoes. Let's talk about that one.
Big Red said Big Red.
Yeah, I know. I seen she put it on there, so we're gonna talk about that. Whoever want to start it, go ahead. But we're gonna talk about it.
Let me jump in there with both feet. So, so that one was bike. The girls on the set are supposed to be manly and hoes. First of all,
or hoes, or both,
or
both,
one or the other,
either or both.
I guess it don't matter how you label it.
Let me
what
peel
it
out of this joint because this one struck near and dear to my heart.
Hey, Archbishop, we'll get him in as deep as we can possibly get him. We'll spin him up next weekend and both walk away. We're just gonna pick up the bones when we're done. And then we'll just throw them in the boneyard.
Right.
So, what I did there? I'll tell you, anybody who's and I understand a lot of the folks watching have not actually been to nobody's clubhouse lately or possibly at all. But what a lot of times what it is not when you're doing an open house or something like that, church, when you're having a little club meeting, that's one thing. But when the house is open, it is not a frat house sausage fest or nothing like that. What you do see there is some gorgeous women, quite often scantily clad, feminine damn women. Y'all have heard me say it before. The MC is where men are men and women are damn glad about it. So these women, these are feminine. And don't get me wrong. These women, if you catch them wrong, these are strong women who can handle their business if they need to, while she's wearing her cute little heels and she got her nails done and she's womanly. These are feminine women who are glad to be women because they're dealing with grown ass men. So it's a huge misconception. And I've heard that before. These women are not manly. Now, what happens, that small bit of truth that I was talking about. So there's this one club, don't kill me, y'all, but there's this one certain club that I'm aware of. And a certain group of 1%ers was referring to them as the dykes on bikes, because they'd show up to an event or two and they had, like this girl was riding her bike and she had her girlfriend on the back and they was, manly looking. That is very much the rarity. It's also that thing that jumps out and like, oh, wow, look at that. So some guys are going to do that. But the truth of the matter is, I see Foxy right there. Perfect example. Foxy, who just jumped on the comments. Foxy was a part of a club. If you don't mind me saying so, Foxy, she was with a club that she was one of the, I want to say one of the original members, correct me if I'm wrong, but called the QTs. And me and Foxy had this conversation. I thought, just like a lot of people thought, that you had to be a straight up stone cold fox. On a scale of 1 to 10, you better be a 17 if you was a member of the QTs. They were gorgeous. They were effective. They did wonderful things on the set back then, especially when Foxy was involved in that club. They did great things. And one of the biggest things was they were freaking gorgeous, womanly women. And they rode motorcycles and they got it in and they did a lot of impressive stuff. So it wasn't hoes and it wasn't manly and none of that. Now, are there the occasional, chick who's, a little, who might be a little tad on the masculine side? Well, yeah, that's like with anything, but that's the exception. Is absolutely not the rule. And like I said, I'll go back to it. Anybody who spent any time in anybody's damn clubhouse, y'all know this is an absolute fact that, women on the set, that's where it's at. There's some great women on the set. Foxy is telling us right now, a small minority of those women we was talking about, small minority. Facebook user says, yes, I'm a rider. That's Miss Wiggles. And I'm pretty sure Miss Wiggles, good to go. And then Foxy says, when I would mention, she corrected me. She goes, she's not an original member, but she was a past VP. We're talking about her old club. Again, she corrected me. I said, is it a thing? Whereas in that club, did you have to be a straight up dime 10 gorgeous damn woman? And she goes, everybody asked that question. She goes, that was never a rule, just kind of turned out that way. So a matter of fact, Phoenix just pointed out, she goes, she's and hallelujah.
Hey, she goes. I was waiting for that one.
Yes, sir.
I was waiting for that one.
Phoenix says, I'm not manly nor a hoe. And there are many of us who just heard that who can all attest to all of the above. Because she done hurt many of feelings, because some fellas then came trying to hoping to praying that she was a hoe, because she's gorgeous, she's a sweetheart, she's an absolute class act. So Phoenix, thank you for watching and chiming in with us tonight. But
you know what? Let me chime in on this one.
Yeah.
Now, typically when you out and about and you see a female biker that's out, they got on jeans, chaps, leather vests, everything. And yes, that does look manly. It doesn't make, but you ain't gonna ride no bike in a skirt. You know what I mean? So you're gonna dress according to what it is. So you're gonna dress according to what it is that you doing. And by far there is now. Are there a couple manly looking broads? Absolutely, manly looking broads any damn word. But
right.
The fine ones outweigh the manly ones in anywhere you go. They're gonna always outnumber that. Now, when you come to the part about biker chicks being hoes, now that part is a two-part answer. Do you have hoes? Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's how the world goes around.
Hoes anywhere.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Okay, good.
Now, do you have hoes anywhere? It ain't just the MC scene. We got hoes at work. We got hoes at the club. We got hoes at the bar down the street. Hoes everywhere. You know what I mean? There have been hoes since the beginning of time. You know what I mean? When God said, let there be light, they brought a hoe with him. You know what I mean? They was there. But see, but this is what a lot of people fail to realize. When you looking at these women and you just see like, okay, they're on a motorcycle, they riding a bike, they manly. Not true at all. You really have some actual very classy, sophisticated women that's in these MC clubs, and they're going to carry on. If you're a classy woman in the street, you're going to be a classy woman in this club. You know what I mean? You're not gonna switch it up from who you are. You know what I mean? That's the reality of it. That's what a lot of people don't realize, that a lot of people that's in this is the same. I mean, like you bringing in the same person that you are every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now if you a hoe in the street, you're gonna be a hoe over here. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. You know what I mean? It ain't no apples and oranges. That's just straight up what it is. But you can't put them all in the same category though. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of women that's in these MC clubs that's very, very sophisticated, have very high-end jobs that they, you know what I mean? And this riding these motorcycles is like a relaxation time for them. It ain't, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I want to go hang out with the guys. You know what I mean? They have rides every year where it's just all women from all different walks of life. They get together and they take that trip up to New York and hang out for a weekend or whatever. But it's thousands of them from all different walks of life. So you're gonna look at them and be like, oh damn, what is it? 10,000 manly ass girls going down the street. No,
look, let me tell you about that. I'm glad you said that. I was talking to somebody about this last night. And again, people get twisted up about it, but the truth is, the Bessie Stringfield ride, one of the ones that you referred to. So the first motorcycle club in the state of Florida was started by a woman, a little black girl, to be specific, a black woman, and she started the Iron Horse MC. It was a co-ed club, and she was a lot of things, and she was not manly. She got it in. She did her damn thing. She was in the Army. She delivered mail. They say she was a spy riding her motorcycle overseas because you can go places where other folks can't. There's a wonderful story behind this chick, and women all over North America celebrate her every single year by getting together and pounding the ground, going sometimes from state to state. Sometimes if you're in a big state like Florida, from one part of the state to the other part of the state, and all of that. And ain't nothing. And I'm not, like you said, I'm not going to be naive or mislead anybody to the point where we're going to say it's no such thing as hoes. Of course there is. There's guys who get involved in the MC lifestyle because it's hoes, but that does not detail or suggest that by default these women are hoes. In fact, it's more often than not, it's the other way around. You got some squared away women who love the lifestyle, love these machines the same way we do, and they get it in. I'm not saying it ain't no hoes. I'm just saying that biker women, women on the set by default are not hoes.
There's room for everybody in this world.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with hoes.
There's room for everybody. Everybody has a space.
Yeah, I look at it like
we're not hating on the
military.
hoes.
I look at it like we look in the military. I mean, some of these women feel that they have to stick their chest out a little further, be a little tougher, more rugged or whatever, and call that their own insecurity or whatever you want to call it. They walk around. I mean, I have met some of these women that, I mean, I've literally told brothers, man, I hope she don't go sideways, because if I got to stand face to face with that bitch, she's going to knock the fuck out of me, and I'm not going to beat up from her brother. And then there's others that represent themselves well. They represent their clubs well. Most of them are married or taken, and their husbands are. Some of them are clubbers, some of them ain't. But they're along for the ride, man. They're having a blast. That's what she's doing, and that's cool. I've met some that seem to be seeking something. I mean, I don't know. It's just no different than us, I guess.
Right.
But as far as the hose thing go, it's you got to go into a clubhouse and think you're going to go grocery shopping. You're going to find out very quickly you're going to be killed. Yeah. I mean, and for those young cats, especially, I don't know how many times I see it. Like everybody talks about the property patch and shit like that. Mm-hmm. If you go in the clubhouse and there ain't a single property patch in there, you still better just mind your P's and Q's, keep your hands to yourself, because there's times where there's brothers show up something, not everybody wears their colors or their property patches. I mean, and it's human nature. Men are going to be men, women are going to be women, and it's just one of those things where it's all on the person's perception of what they're there for. I mean, I've been married my whole time, so I look at the hoe that would show up as a problem for me, because my wife's gonna be like, hey, I see that bitch in there again. I guess I'm gonna go have to exterminate somebody.
Yeah, I know your wife, and I know you're telling the gospel right now. So yeah.
And a lot of our wives are that way, but it goes back to the whole all 1%ers or this or that.
Well, you know,
Not
I want to throw out well, two things. I'm curious about something. We have a Facebook user, and by the way, when you're joining us on Facebook, it doesn't always tell us who you are. So we got a Facebook user who said, when I first moved to Daytona, I was on my bike at a light. A man pulled up next to me and said, "We don't like women riders." He didn't like my response. A, love to hear the response, and B, we'd love to
yeah.
know who the hell you are. So if
And
you're
what
still
year
there
was it?
watching, yeah.
What year was it?
Yeah, that's a fact. When was that? Because the one brother, I think it was Fireball, said something about the racism. I remember when I first came on the set, so like about 20 years ago or so in Florida, I had a guy tell me he didn't say it twice, but he told me that he never even heard of a N-word being on a damn Harley, let alone being a president of a club. That was not a good day for him. But anyway, but like you said earlier, Shaggy, you said, hey, 20 years ago, certain attitudes were kind of prevalent, and that's not a long time ago, but you know, a lot is
In
different.
our lifestyle, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. In our lifestyle, 20 years is a long time. So it's different thing. Let me throw out another one. One I think me and you both hit on, Archbishop, the tattoos. So bikers are supposed to be tattooed. So when I was a kid, right? And I was, I don't know, 7 years old. Remember those in the Cracker Jack box? For those of y'all old enough to remember that, they had those little
Absolutely.
the tattoos. You lick them and stick them, put some water on them, and slap them on your arm, and then you had like a little temporary tattoo of a
Last for about a day and a half
yeah,
if you
like
did
you
it
had a
right.
duck or a Daffy Duck or some such silliness. But so my grandfather told me back in the day. He says the only ones that wear tattoos is
Sailors and bikers.
yeah. He said sailor. No, he said sailors, bikers, and hippies. He said sailors, bikers,
Oh,
and hippies. No, well, actually, it was my grandfather. So he said you got Marines, you got sailors, you got bikers, and hippies. If you ain't one of them, then you don't need no damn tattoos. That's what my granddad told me. So flash forward a lot of years, man, I'm real confused now because I see bankers and friggin' uh, pie chefs and all kinds of everybody's got a damn tattoo head to toe. But once upon a time, you saw some tattoos. That meant you did some prison time, or you was in the military, or you was a biker or something like that. But so, Archbishop, tattoos. Do you have to have a tattoo to be a biker or in a club or any of that?
No, you don't. But I got two out of them. I mean, I was in the military, and I'm a biker.
Yeah,
Actually, most of my tattoos I got when I was in the military.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Same here.
that's where about 90% of mine came from.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
my
The other ones
tattoos
was
are
just,
only
just
military tattoos.
right. It was just, because like back when we was in the military, you know what I mean, you had to put them in certain places. They
Yep.
couldn't be visible in certain areas or whatever, you know
Hmm.
what I mean? And then once I got out, I got something on my forearms and stuff like that.
Right.
That's different.
Yeah.
Um, but I had even done that before I had even came on to the MCC. You know what I mean? Because it was like, you know, when I was in the military, hell, you didn't want to just be walking around just bare, just clean, don't got nothing. You know what I mean? You gotta have something. You
Right.
know,
Right.
you
how's the
know.
boot camp walking up?
Yeah,
Hmm.
but you gotta have something. You know, what I mean, you can't just be just walking there. I mean, everybody got a nice print on their back, on the chest, or whatever, and you just walking around bird chested and don't with nothing. I mean, you gotta have something. But each
Yeah.
tattoo, each one that I have represents something. It's not just like I went in there and I'm like, oh yeah, I like this. I like this this animal here. Yeah, I want that put on there. You know what I mean? Everything that I have means something, and
Right.
there's
Right.
a story behind the tat. You know what I
Right.
mean? So and
So no
I
Daffy
find
Duck.
that right. No, hell no. But a lot of people that have tats, they do just that. You know what I mean? It's not just because it's cute. Everything has a meaning to it. You know what I
Right.
mean? And there's a story behind that meaning. You know what I mean? So if you find somebody with a lot of tats and you just sit there and just like, okay, like why'd you get that tat? Guarantee he got a full story as to what made him get that.
Yeah. We used to call it reading. And but when we say reading, that was a thing, depending on where damn, here I go. Depending on where you was in jail, where you did your time. you could look at a dude and figure out real quick, are those military tattoos or are those prison tattoos or are those biker tattoos? That comes from being around for a minute. But you could look at those tattoos most of the time and you could be able to gauge real quickly what some of that stuff was, because military tattoos have a very specific message or very specific ideology, or not ideology, but a very specific, I did this, or I'm a part of that, or I was a part of that, or like that. Jail tattoos, it's a different thing. But the thing is though, is that I know cats who, like you said, who tatted from head to toe, who's going to tell you here's everything going on with me. And you got other cats, like me and you, Archbishop. We don't have 50 tattoos. We got a couple of them, and they're, for the most part, military related. It says a thing. So the most folks that know us, they can look at that, and even somebody, more importantly, somebody who never met you a day before in your life, they can glance at that tat and they got an idea about something about you. By the way, we got the answer. It was Miss Wiggles who commented. Daytona, it was Shaggy. She said it was 2017, and it was Miss Wiggles. And her answer to the guy was she pulled up her shirt and she shared her friend with him. So I guess he didn't like the answer that that she gave him. So, but anyway, Miss Wiggles, I'm glad you're still
I
here.
don't know how to read that. I pulled up her shirt and shared my friend with him. Let's go back on to the next topic. So,
okay, gotcha.
tattoos.
Put this up.
Twisted. I'll tell you how long ago it's been since I was in the service.
Okay.
There's at one point where we're doing a uniform inspection. We just got our first female CO, and there's three of us guys standing together, and she was literally judging to see whose tits were bigger on their forearm. Now, I mean, full on breast, nipples, the whole 9 yards. I mean, big pair of tits I used to have on my forearm. Well, I say used to because I got out of service and then I went back in 2010. And while I'm at MAPS, they said, they come up and they take pictures of it, and they literally pull out a caliper and measure. And they're like, look, you got to cover those up. And I'm like, why? I said, well, you can't have nipples or anything like that. So I literally paid, the $40 setup fee at a tattoo shop for him to literally dip the gun in there one time and basically, put a bra on the girls and go back into service. So that's how long ago that was.
Yeah, I remember that actually.
Every tattoo's got a story, but here's the thing. You'll go up and ask them about them, man. A lot of guys don't want to talk about their tattoos. Sometimes that's the personal thing with them.
Yeah.
There's club tattoos that, you just don't ask about, don't talk about. And that's that individual. Like, people ask me all the time, well, you got that tattoo or that tattoo? What'd you get that for? Are you this or you that? Well, it's none of your business why I got a tattoo. I mean, they want to try to make more out of it than what's there.
Oh, yeah. So, by the way, let me do a quick one real quick. Twisted, that's my sister from another mister. She's kind of on the men right now. She went through a thing. One of the most beautiful, squared away, and badass female. She was blown up twice. I think I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, blown up once in Afghanistan, blown up again in Iraq, came back to the United States, got down with my club, my old club back in the day. She rides her shit. And but anyway, Twisted, I'm glad you're on the men. Love you, sister. But she says, funny people always assume that I have tattoos because I ride motorcycles. And she says, I have none. She says I have none.
I know 1%ers that have none. They don't have long hair. They don't have their ears pierced. They don't have piercings.
Hang on one sec. We got a caller. That's Ragu. What's up, Ragu?
Hey, what's up, Owen? I had a question for you. Somebody asked me something, and I didn't know how to answer.
Okay.
He was in MC a while ago, and that MC folded, and he had their tattoo on his arm. Mm-hmm. Now he's in another club, and he wants to put their logo on his arm. Should he get the first one covered up, or just put a line through it, or how should he deal with that situation?
What does he want to put?
Should have got it dated before he ever started prospecting.
He wants to put the club's tat on his arm.
I know. No, I got you. I was just talking with you. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Shaggy. Go ahead.
He should have got it dated before he ever started prospecting at minimum. And then, I still have my former club is tattooed on my arm with it dated. And I'll show club tattoo and my cousin's club. And it depends on his club's rules. I mean, some clubs will tell you have to cover it up, depending on what type of club you're in. They may tell you have to remove it altogether. I mean, I've seen blacked out tattoos before.
Yeah. So,
All
so I
right.
guess Ragu, that's going to be a well, I'm sorry, Archbishop. What say you on the old patch from old tat from his previous club?
I would say it depends on the previous club. You know what I mean? Some have it to where if you're out that club, that if you got that patch on, if you got that tattoo on, it has to come off one way or the other.
Yeah.
Either cover it up or they gonna, or cut it
Take it
off,
off
whatever,
completely.
however you want to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, so it really all depends on it depends on the previous club he was in. So if they don't have a rule about it, then do what you need to, do what you want. But if it's usually, I know some clubs, if you had a tattoo and you're no longer in that club, then you are to cover up
Right.
that
In
tat.
fact, I was
Yeah,
gonna.
that's kind of what I told him. He needs to cover it up, and then because it'll be kind of odd too. You having two different club patches on your arm, so
Yeah.
that would throw a lot of confusion when people see you out on the streets.
Mhm.
Hey, two things. So one, Ragu, thank you for that question. I'll throw in my little 2 cents. To take it just a little step further. Even though it is not necessary in a lot of clubs, it's not required that you have that you get inked up or have tattoos or whatever for that club or for anything really. But for those of you who through the permission of your club, every club is a little different. But like Archbishop just said, if you have a tattoo of a club's patch or something, some symbolism related to that previous club, and either you find yourself being asked to leave that club, and y'all saw how I did that all, I picked my words carefully, but if you're asked to leave that club or you exit that club in whichever fashion, certain clubs are going to require that you no longer have that tattoo anymore. And typically it's a couple of different ways that like Archbishop alluded to. You can either cover it up as an option, or they can help you get rid of it as another option. But so if you elect to have a club related tattoo, that becomes a kind of serious thing. Again, if it's Daffy Duck, nobody cares. But if you got a tattoo that's saying something about something about that club, that's a concern. But Ragu, man, thank you for that question. That's actually a good one. Big C said, ain't heard about a club rule that no club tattoos for a certain amount of time after their patch. I can tell you, Big C, about that one. Every club is different. Every club. Matter of fact, Archbishop, let me borrow one of the things that you listed in your top 10 was no rules. And we've discussed this one before, but a lot of folks think that you're in this club and you're just out there wilding out. What'd you say? Like Shaggy says, we're out there raping, pillaging, and burning because there's no rules, right? Well, my take on the no rules thing is, that's a huge misconception because like some of us like to quote, hey, we got more rules, especially those of us that wear that jewelry. We got more rules in the damn Constitution. Where the criminality thing kind of clashes with that a little bit is, we believe in what we believe in, and we have our rules that we believe that we are going to follow. There's a lot of rules from one state to the next state or one jurisdiction to another jurisdiction that might not make sense. Slavery was the law of the land once upon a time. That didn't make it right. And a lot of folks said, hey, we don't want to follow that rule. As it relates to us, for those of us that are some freedom loving, doggone jewelry wearing freaking bikers, we don't necessarily subscribe to everything that the government says, but we do subscribe to, and we've agreed to follow the rules of our specific organizations. So having said that, yeah, we got rules. We got a lot of rules. It just seems like it to the novice, to somebody who don't know how we really get down. They might think we don't have no rules, but every action has a consequence. good or bad, good or bad. What do you think, Archbishop? Rules or no rules? We got them or we don't?
Well, you kind of answered it. You know, what I mean,
I
there's
know.
there's a there's a lot of rules. I mean, I'm trying to word this correctly because I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rules. Okay, we are not. I mean, we are not Vikings. You know what I mean? Even though,
Right.
even though, even though a lot of people think that that's what we do, we are not Vikings. There is actual rules to this game here.
Right.
And we have to follow actually more rules than the average person would have to follow, being the fact of where we are. That not only keeps the bro safe, but it keeps your chapter safe and everything else that's involved with it. So you have to have rules in place. I mean, you have never seen anything that had no order be orderly.
Right.
Real simple. You know what I mean? So that it has to be rules to the game. And then as the years go on and stuff starts happening, because you got to realize you may have started out with maybe 2 pages of rules.
Right.
But as the years progress and stuff start happening, like you may be reading, say you're reading your rule book from work, and it says don't stick this ink pen in that light socket. Well, they
Right.
be like, why the hell would you put that in here? Because guess what? Some dumbass stuck this pen in a light socket.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? That's the reason how rules come
Mhm.
about, because you got people that do stupid shit. So
Right.
now I got to put this in the rules so that way you don't do it no more. You know what I mean? It's kind of how
Hey,
that goes.
Shaggy.
So,
Hey, let me ask you right quick. Shaggy, do you remember? Because you're a CB. Remember when they used to have on the claymores where it said on the one side,
Point
point
towards
this side
enemy.
towards enemy? Yeah,
Yeah,
remember that?
yeah,
They had a
yeah.
freaking claymore mine, right hand of Jesus, on the curve, the outside curve side. That shit said, point this side towards enemy, because some dumb
right,
motherfucker at
right.
some point did the shit
That's because an
backwards
army
and blew
guy
his ass
fucked it
apart.
up.
Like,
Turned it
yeah,
around, blew his whole damn squad up.
yeah. On the backside,
Mhm,
it says, if you can read this, you're correct, or some shit like that. I'm like,
mhm.
and we laugh about it now, but at some point, some motherfucker blew his ass the fuck up because, and it sounds like, but yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm the
because
I
generally,
opposite
feel
of
you on
that.
that one.
Those idiots that go out and do stupid shit and start out 20 years ago with a page and a half or a page of bylaws, and most of that page was how we're structured, how we're going to do business, and then you have the shit you don't do, the shit that's not covered by the man code or the biker code, or just being a fucking common sense. Um, it got bad there for a while, man. It's like, holy shit, man. We got rules for fucking everything. And, I'm one of those guys and I'm against that, man. If I got to teach you the shit you shouldn't do as an adult, you don't belong here. You're a liability anyway. That
Mhm.
those guys that you have to put that rule in there. I'm always the guy that's the opposite of that. I'm like, I'll argue day in and day out. I'm like, man, why do we got to put a rule in for that jackass? That don't apply to the rest of us. Now if it's
Right.
something that benefits the whole, yeah. But for one guy, but truth be told, though, just like you said, man, pretty much traded one government for another government. We got more rules than what we know what to do with.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
Some of
fellas,
them are fucking stupid.
facts. Hey, fellas, let's take a quick break for station identification.
YouTube,
I
Boneyard.
decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.
And thank y'all for doing that short station identification break from Fran Hash. We freaking love her. Frost said to remind everybody to like, subscribe, and share. everybody. So share this. If y'all are watching this and y'all are digging the stuff that we're talking about, definitely put it out there, share it on your social media, text it to a friend, but definitely make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Do all three of those things. We got y'all working like you punching the clock for us right now. But yeah, hey, do that for us. Doggone Archbishop, you got a list. Hit us with one more, man.
Let's see here. We went through a lot of mine, actually.
Okay. Well, yeah. Shaggy said.
Actually, we went through all of mine.
Okay.
Now that I'm looking at it.
Shaggy said.
We go through the bully one?
No, we didn't go through the bully one. Let me see. We went through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
we do got the bullies on there.
Bullies,
okay. Yeah, I forgot about that.
There. So what about the bullies?
Archbishop?
Well, okay, I'll start. well,
Shaggy's a you to do that.
Yeah, go. I'm telling you, go.
This is the bully part is actually a good one because when we was talking about earlier, you have this is a whole part about this perception versus reality thing.
Yeah.
Because once somebody, and I've seen this happen all the time. Okay, somebody join a club and they go through their prospecting stage or whatever, and you done properly vetted them, and you know exactly what they do. Let's say, for instance, he's an accountant, and he's been accounting for 15 years, and he graduated from UNC and top of the class and all this other. Okay, and he comes in here and he joins his MC. Right. And he goes through his probate, and he's bouncing around from clubhouse to clubhouse until he gets his cut. Now, once he gets his cut and you see him 2 weeks later, this is not the dude that you were originally prospecting. Now he got on all the jewelry, he got on the coat, he got on the vest, he got his hat tilted, and he battered and fuck. You know what I mean? And he walked right. He walking around just like he the toughest thing that ever stepped foot in here. Mm-hmm. And then you walk around and you go into these other parties and you sitting there and you mean mugging and you shooting rocks and you trying to impose your will on people and shit, knowing that that's not you for real. Now, Friday and Saturday, you this dude. And then I walk into your office on Monday and you like, hey, Sean, how are you today? You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay, so the bully part comes in because they feel that because they have this shit on, that they bulletproof, that they bigger than life. You know what I mean? It's like to some people, this shit is like a fairy tale to them. You know what I mean? You get to be the person that you always wanted to be. You know what I mean? So that's just like when you had kids that was bullied in high school, they became policemen. And they became cops because they were treated like little bitches in school. So then they became cops because now I can bitch you. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of, not everybody, but I'm saying there is a lot of them, and the ones that's listening right here can vouch, because I guarantee it's one or two in your damn chapter right now that does this very thing right here. Mm-hmm. And or you got one who used to be in another club. Let's say they was in a 99 club and they decided to go OMC, and they left the 99 club for whatever reason, and they joined this OMC. And then the first thing they want to do when they get their cut is what? Go after that 99 club.
Oh yeah.
Because now I'm bigger than you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You inferior to me. You know what I mean? Yeah, they do that. This shit actually happens. You know what I mean? This is stuff that we can't make up. It actually happens. This is the reason why we talk about it. You know what I mean? And it happens in every club. Yeah, it's called for those of y'all that don't know, we call it patchitis. Patchitis means you get them, you become 10 foot tall, bulletproof with a great big old thing, all that. And guess what? You got patchitis. For the most fortunate ones, it wears off shortly after, because after you done went through a whole hell of a lot to get that patch, you're going to be feeling kind of proud of it for a minute, and that's okay. You should feel proud of it forever.
But that little crazy part is supposed to wear off. Sometimes it don't. Sometimes it don't. But I know when I got out of Marine Corps boot camp, I had a hit list. No kidding. There was a kid named Lanier Evans. I hope you're watching, Lanier. Apologies. So, or that would be Father Lanier Evans now. So I got out of boot camp. This dude was in the seminary, but he was a bully of mine when I was 7 years old. So when I got out of boot camp, I had to travel all the way. I went to Philadelphia looking for Lanier Evans. And they said, "Oh, you mean Brother Evans?" I'm like, "What?" I had to beat him up. I had to. It was the thing because it was in my head. You know, I was on that. That would be the military equivalent of patchitis. But the thing is, it's probably a little more dangerous on the set. You know, because some of these cats, they get a little. They get the feeling that a little bit too much, and you know, so you see them and you know who they are. I love to say, if a guy gets that patch and you see him a year later and he's the same dude a year before he got that patch, not meaning that he didn't learn stuff. Of course, you're supposed to learn in whatever you're doing. So, you know, keep learning. That's all cool. But that don't mean that, you know, if you change into a completely different person, okay, now you're just faking. Now you're playing with it, you know, because, and I'm saying two different things. If you view the world and everything about the world the same way today as you did 30 years ago, then I'll show you a man who's wasted 30 years of his life because he ain't learned nothing, right? And ask a guy at 15 how smart he is. Ask that same man at 30, hey, what do you think about what you thought when you was 15? If he don't say, man, I was a stupid kid, I can't believe I used to think like that, then he hadn't really lived life or learned nothing about the world. You know, you're going to have some different opinions. But
You know,
again,
you would think
patchitis.
though that when you come into these clubs and you bringing something to the table, you offering the club your particular
Right.
set of skills. This is what you
Facts.
bring into it, which is in turn is going to strengthen that chapter and make it bigger. Not for you to come into it and totally change who you are and your dealings. You know what I mean? Like, point. Here's a valid one.
Yeah.
You can't be, and I know Pastor Troy, I'm not talking about you, brother, but you can't be in an MM club and then join an OMC club and then become an atheist when you was in an MM club for years and years and years, and then you
Facts.
come over here and you completely switch what you believe in.
Yeah, I've seen that before. I've seen
You know
that.
what I mean? Just to put this aura about yourself as though you are this person, but that's
I've
not
seen, I
you.
swear to you, I've
You know
seen
what I'm
that
saying?
same exact thing. The
And
exact.
you know, this is a lot of stuff that takes place. Okay, so what are you actually offering to your chapter, to your club by
Yep.
doing that? You know what I mean? Because we bought you in like, okay, if you're an accountant and you come in here and this is what you are offering to the chapter, great. We can use that. This is what we need to do to build to be able to step in the next direction. I don't need you to turn from this dude to this one. We got
Right.
enough of them. We got
Right.
enough of them. There's room for everybody in here. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own particular set of skills, and you put all that together, and you can make a meal. And when you make that meal, everybody in this chapter eats. We
Right
all
on.
eat
Right
because of
on.
the benefits that each and every person puts into it. Now, when you start, you know, doing this whole perception thing, like, okay, I don't want nobody to think I'm an accountant. I want them to think I'm this way, you
Right.
know. And then, what are you actually doing? Now, you may be still doing the accountant thing that we need you to do, but what are you doing to yourself?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right on.
You spending more time being fake than you are just being yourself. And that's what,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's what a
The
lot of this
benefit to
stuff,
your chapter. How
right?
you gonna be a benefit to your brothers?
Even with being a biker and you got the freedom of the road, the freedom to, you know what I mean, to run around and do what you want to do, but you also have the freedom to be your damn self.
Yep.
Be
Facts.
yourself. You know what I mean? Amongst all other things. How can you tell me some real shit when
Yeah.
all I
So
see out of you is the fake shit?
Right.
I've got to do some defining here. One, what is a bully in the MC community? Um, it is an individual who just is so miserable with himself. He's got to feel better to go around beating up on other people. When he does it, and he hides behind his club to do so. Are those guys out there? Absolutely. Are there patch head guys out there? Absolutely, they are. Every single day, every new patch, they all got to go through it. Sooner or later, it doesn't matter if they go through it with their first club or they go through it with their diamond club. Fortunately enough for me, I went through it very young age, and back then club life was a little bit different. You walk around patch head, boy, them brothers knock the living shit out of you, and patch head would end very quickly. I will also say, let's define what the perception of a bully is. Is he a guy that's you know, being stern with you because you screwed up? Is he a guy that's putting you in your place because, you know, he might have got out of line a little one too many times, because it takes several times for a lot of guys to finally just say, hey, knucklehead. Is it you're perceiving that because I'm in a 1% club, and I'm the dominant, that, you know, I'm quote unquote policing my area, or I'm making sure that my area is not got a bunch of clubs causing problems, which in turn brings more problems on me. And we can talk about that subject later, because that is a long topic. But the fact of the matter is, your definition of being a bully. I don't believe in the bully shit, you know. So I didn't grow up. I grew up dealing with bullies, but it would be like they started with me, and the way my dad taught, you know, us four boys was, you know, the bully's the biggest sissy and pussy on the planet. You know, he's going around using the size of his, how loud he is to kind of push people around. They get scared automatically. If you stand in front of that son of a bitch and punch him in the mouth or punch him in the nose, you're gonna find out real quick just how tough he is. Most of them fold like a deck of cards. The thing in the MC community, is there bullying going on? Yeah, I mean, it's something we can't deny. But the fact of the matter is it the guys are just tired of shit? You know, that this is the only way they can seem to get through some of these clubs. We don't have, can't follow a lot of our old traditions that we used to follow, like the patch pull, and you know, they call it the patch police now.
Yeah.
I could argue that topic all day long. There's no such thing as a patch police. You used to have to earn that patch to be in a part of that community. That you know, goes along with everything with this lifestyle. You have to earn it. Guys change themselves. I would say I would say a small few folks change who they are after they patch out, and they let that patch dictate who they are, and they become a bunch of, you know, useless jackasses that are bullies and tough guys when they weren't tough guys to begin with. You know, if you can't wake up and be the same person you look in the mirror every single day, with your club, with your job, with whatever it is you do, then, you know, you're not a bully. You're a joke. You're not patchitis. You're fake, and you're what's the definition of watering this lifestyle down? The fact of the matter is, the bullying concept comes from the person receiving said, you know, conversation from said individual. I've seen, you know, guys on the dominant side down to the t-shirt side. Man, the guy gets tired of their shit. He just stands his ground. He's not being a bully. He's just tired of it. I've seen guys, you know, like myself, watch this lifestyle go from a very strict, you know, this is how the hierarchy is. This is how our community is. We know everybody, be a part of the community, be a good solution to the community. Don't be a problem for the community. And go to where, man, I used to be able to name everybody in the clubs back in the day. Now I can't. Today's day and age, there's no way. It's absolutely impossible with all the clubs that are around. And, you know, one of my favorite things to do is these places that say no colors. You know, it used to be, hey man, if they put no club colors on there, all the club leadership would get together, go sit down with that owner, say, hey man, what's the deal with this? And usually it would get resolved. Now there's so many clubs out there. You know, I would go try to do that same tactic, and the club owners are like, look, man, we're not going to have a problem here. I said, man, define what club it was. Put that on the thing. So this club can't come here. Then that leadership's going to want to know why. Why? Because those young guys that just passed out went in there and bullied up their, you know, their people, and they're just doing it because they just got that patch on. They think they're representing, and what they don't realize is how misrepresenting their club they are doing in a poor way.
We see that here in Florida. We see that shit right now, where certain establishments are like, "Hey, you guys are okay, but you guys over there aren't because you got." But remember, Florida's a big old biker state, so not everybody, but a lot of these places they differentiate from this club to that club over there. That's not the same way everywhere. I can say in our area, again, it's Florida, so these owners of this bar or this nightclub over here or this place where all the bikers go, they get real familiar with who's who and who's acting what kind of way, and sometimes they even
think
know.
of it this way, man.
Yeah.
From all the old guys that I've learned from, not one of them ever
Mhm.
said, "Hey, to be a man, you got to go around and push people around."
Right.
Not
Right.
a one of them said that in the military or in the club life. Not one.
Right
Nobody
on.
said that. I've never heard that said.
Yeah.
And those guys that go out and do it, they do it on their own. They're overzealous. They're trying to prove something, and all they're doing is proving just how small-minded and asinine they are. And
Right.
the club, it used to be the clubs would step in and curtail that shit, but there's just so many of them now. It's just
Well, we still that brings me to we have got to get back to doing what we used to always do, which is police our own. That was something that a lot of the club owners used to love. In fact, in my time on the set, I know certain clubs used to love, or bars I'm talking about, used to love for certain clubs to come around because they know, man, we ain't gonna have no problems. They take care of their own folks. Whatever I might do to them, or if I make that call on the phone and call them boys, that's nothing compared to what those guys are going to do for embarrassing them while out and about. So we police our own. And clubs that don't do that, get back to policing your own folks and making sure that folks, don't embarrass your club and have your patch looking like y'all a bunch of idiots. Let me throw out another one of these. Excuse me, another perception or misperception that. Okay, I think I threw out this one. Bikers are anti-establishment, anti-government, and not patriotic. What do you think about that one?
I'm 100% patriotic. I hate our government, and I am 100% against the establishment.
Okay, right
It's
on.
against our 100% Constitution. It's against what our founding fathers wanted for this country, of what we have today. 100% against it.
Okay, right on. And look, and I get some folks will misunderstand what you mean, but I absolutely understand what you mean. Y'all heard me say,
Okay, I'm against our government because all we do is sit here and legislate ourselves out of our rights. We
yeah,
have legislated ourselves so badly that the Constitution damn near hardly has any founding anymore.
mm-hmm,
We have forgotten our foundation to this country. Everything's about the me, the my, the who, it's not about the country as a whole. It's about what you can do better for this group or that group or this group or that group. And fuck that. It was supposed to be about for all of us. That's why we, went in the military, fought for our freedom, did the patriotic thing. I mean, look at the old, back in, I think it was 68, 67, 68, 69, somewhere in there. Sonny Barger petitioned the president of the United States to volunteer some of his guys for inside the lines duty in Vietnam. I mean, how
yeah,
much more patriotic can you get than that? There's
yeah,
a lot of these clubs that are started by guys that came from the military. The
yeah,
most derogatory thing that I have to hear these days because of the Patriot Act is we're a bunch of domestic terrorists. That's bullshit. I give this country 13 years. I trained 50, 60,000 troops during the right after 9/11 and right before we went into Iraq to go in there, and all of them, as far as I know to this day, have come back home because I took my job seriously. I'm far from a domestic terrorist, but that's the label I get because I choose to be in this club. I'm very patriotic. Our
oh yeah.
government's fucked up.
Well, see, that's why that's one of the reasons I threw that out there, because what happens, it's become way too easy for the powers that be. Sometimes it's certain factions of the media, sometimes a certain faction of the government, but they like to paint us with a whole big wide brush. And the truth of the matter is, and I'm not saying that some of us ain't fucked up. I never said that. But by and large, when you're talking about the MC community, you are talking about the most stern patriots that there are. A lot of us, of course, we served in the military, but on top of that, we embrace the ideology of what this country was founded upon, which is freedom. We appreciate our freedom. We embrace our freedom. And we, not just for ourselves, but for other folks around us. You know, we just want things to go the right way. But it's not about limiting our freedom. You know, here's the thing. Most bikers, and I've talked about this before, most bikers back in the day, bikers were not very involved in politics, didn't give a damn. They were all about peace, love, and all of the above, right? Whereas now, bikers over a great number of years, over a few decades, have become more political because they've seen the erosion of their freedoms. And these are people who freedom is very important to. Now, back in the day, you know, growing your hair long, man, that might have been seen as a, you know, I won't say a terrorist act, but it was like, how dare you? You know, you're riding around on a motorcycle, smoking weed and doing whichever, you know, some pseudo hippie style shit on a motorcycle. Well, you were just a bad individual. You must have been against the country. Nah, we just want to be left alone. We want to do our thing. We don't want your religious persecution or your whatever. We want to be left the hell alone. A lot of Americans feel that way. I want to love who I love, want to raise my family, you know, do my thing, ride my motorcycle, do my damn thing, right? You know, again, peace, love, all the above. Whereas now, a lot of bikers in 2023 see, damn, you know, I can't do most of the stuff. I got to have a permit to breathe air or to ride my motorcycle or to do this, that, and the other thing. Anyway, I'm going to shut the hell up about that. One of the ones that you threw out there, Shaggy, was these bikers are a bunch of womenizers who are out there raping, pillaging, and burning. Is that about accurate, or what do you think? Is that what we do?
Oh, that's what's portrayed. But I've been married 21 years.
What?
A lot of my club brothers have been married a long time. We've got guys that's been married to their significant other the entire time, and just a little bit before they even joined the club. You know, we're men. Yeah, who don't like to see strippers on stripper poles? Who don't like to see, you know, girls doing what girls do, and that's that. But as far as being womanizers and shit like that, today's day and age, no. I mean, back in the day, that was different, man. That's the old guy story. That ain't our story. You know, that kind
Right
of
on.
get the women's lib movement would cut your throat off and, you know, take your balls and shove them down your neck.
So one last thing, Archbishop, man, fuck you. Are bikers rude?
That's a fucking loot.
Yeah.
Truth hurts. That makes us
okay.
rude.
Well, let me clarify that. Now, are we typically rude all the time? No. But you have to think though. A lot of because you don't know the person that you up against when you talking. Now, a lot of times I say stuff. I'm being sarcastic. I'm not being rude. I'm just a sarcastic person.
Right.
And you know, I have a very thin tolerance for bullshit and stupid questions. So when you ask me something like that and I say something to you, you know what I mean, it may sound sarcastic, it may sound rude, but that's, you know what I mean, it's just because I want you to really think about what you just asked me. You know what I mean? Like, you know, me and you be talking sometime and we be sitting there talking to other people and you see me look at you and I just like give you this look. I don't say nothing, I just give you this look. You already know what I'm thinking without me saying anything, because what he talking about is some stupid. You know what I mean? Like, why are we even sitting here just standing here listening to this shit?
Or like,
let's go. You know what I mean?
And somebody jumps in the conversation, even though two grown ass patch holders are talking, and somebody from wherever the fuck is just going to jump in there and start giving their 2 cents as if they were invited to do so.
Exactly. So, you know, so when people ask stupid questions, and of course, you know, the old saying, you ask stupid question, I'm gonna give you a stupid answer. You know, so that's not MC though. I'm like that all the time. I'm like that in the street.
Right.
I do that shit at Walmart. If you ask me something stupid, I'm gonna say something to you. You know what I mean? That's just me. That's just who I am. I've been this way.
You know why that is
forever.
See, here's the thing. I'm going to share this with anybody who's listening. I'm going to tell y'all a secret. The secret is this. All right, y'all listening? You listening? All right, here's the secret. The secret is 1% clubs do not make 1%ers. Let me say it again. 1% clubs do not make 1%ers. What 1% clubs do is they find like-minded individuals and they show them where home is. Here's the way that we do it. Those guys over there say, here's the way that we do it. But we're going to show you home because you have that ideology. You have that grown man mentality that we have. You get down the way that we do. Let's show you how we do it. That means some rules, like we was talking about earlier. That means there's some rules involved in all like this kind of thing. But you can't make a 1%er. You can't make a man a man. You know what I mean? You can show him the right way to do it. And Archbishop just said Archbishop is the same dude at Walmart as that he is in the clubhouse, that he is driving down the damn highway. He's the same cat, right? And he was all that stuff before he ever put on a patch. And so is me, and I can tell you for a fact, ain't no difference with Shaggy. They didn't look at him and say, "Yep, Shaggy, after we finish with you, you're gonna be a diamond holding son of a gun, freaking rootin' tootin' damn 1%." No, nobody never said that. They're like, "Nah, oh, you that dude. You need to be over here, and here's why. Because we're of the same mindset." So that's the thing. That's a little secret. Remember, I told you all that. But so one more, Uncle Shaggy, I'm gonna give you. You're gonna help us with this last one. This is one of the ones that I think all of us probably hear this one a lot. Bikers are gang members, because clearly, this thing that we do makes Shaggy, you're a member of a gang. How long have you been a member of a gang, sir?
Well, I joined my first gang when I was probably about 13, 14 years old, but I was living in all area. I was in an area of the United States that was all one ethnicity, and I was the only white kid there, and I got tired of getting my ass beat every other day. So a couple of other white kids got together and were like, "Fuck that! Here's how we're going to do it." Well, it fizzled out because gangs are boring. Um, Check it out. Do This is the big fight that motorcycle clubs are going to fight for the rest of our life. Uh, can we be gang like? Yes. Do we have pack mentality? Yes. Do we take care of our own? Yes. You put your hands on one, you put your hands on all. I'll tell you something now. To go inside with that, you touch my family, we're all coming. The whole family. You touch my kid, my grandkid, my great grandkid. You touch my mom and dad. You touch anybody in my family. My family's coming. Is that a gang? No. We won't kill one of the others to get power and money over the other. You know, we will fuss and fight. We'll disagree. We'll agree. We'll come to a conclusion that we just ain't going to agree. We'll just go on about it. There's times when we get in fist fights with each other. Are we a gang? Motorcycle clubs are not gangs. Motorcycle clubs are not the mafia on wheels. Motorcycle clubs are not what the media and the government and the law enforcement officers and the federal agents are trying to push that we are those things. Yeah, things happened in the past. So what? They don't happen now. It's impossible. The government's made it impossible. That's why we all have 9 to 5 jobs and pushing the clock. Am I a gang member? Well, as far as the gang task force goes, yeah. As far as the definition of our government, yeah. No, I am a member of a righteous 1% motorcycle club that is respected across this country because of what my elders did to uphold our motorcycle club. And I am humble enough and I am fortunate enough to be a part of that club to help carry on that torch. Why? Because I earned it, because they earned it, and that's what we do. We earn it. I don't hear gang members go 15 seconds, 30 seconds getting their asses beat by a whole bunch of people calling earning nothing. No, you took an ass whooping because you're stupid enough to stand there and take it. But that's
Right.
y'all's thing, man. I ain't judging you. Do your thing, man. If you're in a gang, do your thing. I ain't judging you. I don't judge anybody in this life. You do you. I'm doing me, but I ain't no gang member. I was raised with the definition. I was raised in the gang mentality. I grew up in a big family. There's 7 of
Right.
us kids. 10,000 goddamn nieces, nephews, uncles, cousins, whole 9 yards, and we all rolled together. And it goes
Hey,
back to the same thing we always say in the motorcycle club community. Fuck with one, you fuck with us all.
that part. That part. You know, I heard that the biggest gang in the United States of America, I don't know about Canada, but in the United States of America,
DBs.
nah, I heard it was the
The Air
PD.
Force. The Air Force. The Air
Nah,
Force is.
nah, the biggest gang is the police department. Because
Oh yeah.
yeah,
By
and
far.
yeah, they get away with all kinds of stuff. They're a good gang because not only can they break the law, they can write the law and they can kill who they want and most of the time get away with it. But
And
hey,
what's funny is most of the times when they arrest you, they have no idea what they're arresting you for. They gotta wait to get to the station, and hopefully between there and the station where they arrest you and where they're taking you, they can come up with something.
yep, facts. Archbishop. So why is it that you love being a gang member so good?
Hey, I'm a profile because he's black. Is that why?
Right. Yeah, you know, them black guys, they
I
love they
mean,
love the gangs.
you're 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 from that generation, right? So am I. I mean, that's what
Oh yeah,
we grew up with. We're
yeah.
supposed to profile like that, right?
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially God forbid you get on a motorcycle. That's it.
Well, you know, I've
That's how
been
you
a,
know.
you know, I kind of done been in the gang persona for a number. You know what I mean? I was in the gang when I was a kid, when I was a teenager,
Yeah.
and then when I went into the military, we had our group, so that was our gang.
Hmm.
When I came over here, you know, I got my people here from, not just Florida, but all over. That's my gang. But I didn't really realize that they really pay so much attention to me personally as being a gang member until I seen that nice little yellow sign that flashes when they run your name and says, boom, Homeland Security, you are a
Yep.
domestic terrorist. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? That's when I realized, like, wow, hmm, you really paying attention to me, huh?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I'm, I'm fucking Huey Newton out,
Yeah.
out in this bitch all of a sudden, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but what Shaggy said was correct. The government puts this stuff out there to make to make people think because okay, you see these guys and they wearing these vests that they're gang members and they put this like we talking about persona. They put this out there that this is what these people are about. These people are drug addicts. They're criminals. They're gonna hurt your kids. They're gonna do this.
Mhm.
They're gonna do that. When it's all actually quite the opposite. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? We are a gang amongst ourselves. We deal with ourselves. You know what I mean? We
Mhm.
deal with other clubs that share that same ideology. That's who we deal with. We
Yeah.
don't be out fucking with, with the public. You know what I
Right.
mean? We don't be just riding up and down the street just messing with people. That ain't our thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, one percenters hang out with one percenters. That's what we do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because we can have this conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
99 clubs, hang out with 99 clubs because that's what they, you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
you gotta put them in these groups to make sense. You know what I mean? Just
Hmm.
like when we was in the military. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? CBs
Yeah,
hung
you
out
didn't
with
go into first.
CBs. OSs
You
hung
didn't
out
hang
with
out in the
OSs.
first
You know what I
class
mean? That's
mess
just what
unless
it is.
well, and you didn't go into first class mess or the chief mess or the officer's mess without being
Yeah.
one of those three things.
Yeah. Some good guys I know say, "Hey, diamonds fuck with diamonds." You know that's you deal with like-minded individuals. You know, but I'll tell you, fellas, this thing and earlier, Archbishop, when you said this thing got legs, it does. And when we say it got legs, folks, y'all listening, what we mean by that is that this conversation could go in a lot of different directions because there's so much stuff to cover. I will say, in regard to the whole gang thing, I remember the first time, and I've been around for a minute at this point, but the first time that I realized that this kind of stuff was going on and that I was supposedly a gang member was I had got arrested for no kidding. I was driving on a suspended license, allegedly. And when I went to court, the overzealous what do you call him? The overzealous state attorney pulled out a folder with pictures of me and probably 12 or 14 of my my brothers in my club. Had a mugshot of every one of them and said, he said to the judge, Judge, this man is a member of a criminal organization. They're a gang. And I was like, I almost passed out in court. I'm like, wait a minute, ain't this traffic? This is traffic, right? I'm like, oh, Lord of mercy. And then, of course, a number of years after that, actually about 2015, I get pulled over, and the police officer walked up. I was on a motorcycle, and the cop pulled up, and he goes, hey, Prez. He goes, I've heard about you, never met you. And he didn't call me by my government name. He called me Prez. I was a president of actually, I was a state president no, wait a minute. I'm saying it wrong. That was 2011. And he goes, hey, Prez, what's going on? And my eyes like wanting to bug all out of my head. He didn't call me by my government name. He said Prez. And then he called me by my road name. He never called me by my government name. And he gave me a ticket and all this other kind of stuff and gave me a hard time. And he could have made it worse because I ain't have no driver's license, but he let me go. And he said he just wanted to meet me. He had heard about me, but wanted to meet me. I was shocked and amazed. And then, of course, I was advised that I was on that damn list. And they got, well, what is it? They got the Homeland Security thing. They can label you as a domestic terrorist and all this other kind of stuff because you're in a motorcycle club. Let that sink in for a second. You can be listed as a domestic terrorist
just that.
because you're in a motorcycle club.
And it isn't just that. It's the there's the whole thing in club life is like, don't know my government name, know my road name, and give you plausible deniability. Well, Ricky Bobby, I don't know Ricky Bobby. Or,
right.
Iceman? I've heard of Iceman. I don't think so. I don't know. Well, check it out. Today's day and age, if you don't think the federal government, from the time he started hanging around to prospecting to the time you become full patch, has not already got a dossier on you with your full name, your social security number, your date of birth, your phone numbers, your aliases, to include your current road name, you are way, way in literally in just the dinosaur age. Because these guys have gotten so smart. And that's why I tell people, go to these NCOM meetings, man. They have these things where we sit down with the lawyers and we sit down with a lot of these people that deal with law enforcement, and they go into like they use these satellite deals to take your phone calls off of cell phone towers, and they use all this other technology to get everything on you. The FBI going out there, the state and local law enforcement, the local snitches that are running around, people with their video cameras, all the technology with the face recognition, all the shit like that. Facebook cleaned that kind of crap up. TikTok still does it. They're owned by China. Be very careful using TikTok. Yep. Bikers tell on themselves now. These guys don't have to work that hard anymore. They literally just sit in their offices now and just scroll the computer. It tells them everything they need to know. Everything they need to know.
Yep.
So I'm one of those guys because I do the fighting for the rights and I do the YouTube stuff. I don't care if they know who my name is. They already got it. They want my DNA. The military got my DNA when I joined there. They got my fingerprint. First 3 times I was arrested, they got my fingerprints. They got my blood. All that shit. It's one of those things where I take care of what I'm doing, and I do what I do, and I try my best to represent the community, my club, and everything that I do the best of my ability. But the fact of the matter is, I don't live my life paranoid. I already know what the government's been doing. I was a part of the government. I was in the United States Navy.
Hey,
I got to see some of them briefings.
I told them who you was when they was asking about you last time. I said, yeah.
It's out there.
I said, I ran out of ink. I was writing so much. I said, hold on. How do you spell Shaggy?
He's boring.
Is that with I-E or is that a Y? And I helped them.
Right.
But hey, so a couple of little house cleaning items. So if you are going to be in New Orleans, actually this weekend, I want to say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you're going to be in New Orleans, a lot of folks from all over the United States are going there. A lot of different groups. It's the MC profession. It's called the MC Professional convention now. If you haven't found it, you can pull it up on Google. Definitely go through there. I know myself, Shaggy, and possibly Archbishop are going to be down there talking about a few things, sharing some thoughts, and giving some folks some information about different things. But y'all, definitely check that out. It's definitely a great, fantastic source of information. It should be a really great time if you're going to be in that area. But the other thing is that y'all know we've made some efforts. We did a thing earlier this year, around Thanksgiving time. We're going to try to put some attention on helping some homeless folks this year. And if you out there and y'all boneheads and folks that's watching this show, if there's some folks that you want to help, let us know about it, because we're definitely all about that. We can spread the word, so to speak, and let folks know if there's somebody that needs some help. We definitely want to do our best to help out as well as we can. And other than that, I'm probably missing some stuff. Definitely check us out on the Facebook group. The Facebook group is the Big Boneyard on Facebook. So check that out. I'm trying to remember all the stuff that I always forget, Archbishop. You see me trying, right? I'm trying, man. AB, what I miss?
No, actually, I think you got it all.
What?
Actually, did pretty good this time. You got it.
Okay, all right. I'm trying, because I'll be missing stuff. And Uncle Shaggy, are you going to be coming back with a thing, or is Uncle Shaggy's Corner coming back? Are you kicking it around? Are you working on it? What you gonna do?
It's in the thought process. A lot of folks have reached out to me. A lot of my own brothers have reached out to me. Um, it's one of those things where you you learn a lesson and you're not real sure if you want to cross that line and deal with it again. Um, you know, we have to deal with today's day and age, which is using the tools that are given to us. And one of the great tools, if used properly, is this stuff we're doing here. Um, uh, the one thing that hurts us is when there's these folks out there that want to bash our lifestyle, or they want to make them lift themselves up to better themselves, but trash us in the process, or the uh, misinformation that's out there. That hurts us real bad, and that makes me want to get in the fight, a little bit more than just coming on here from time to time, or doing Black Dragons or Hollywood's thing.
Yeah,
Um, I'd be willing to jump in with both feet, but um, the thing is this time all the T's will be crossed, the I's will be dotted, and the mission will still be the same in the aspect of getting the correct information out there, but more so of my platform would be something very simple, and it would be the same as it was before, which is to not build this community, but to shed some of the fat, so to say, make it smaller. This community, for those of us who've been around long enough to know, there is nothing more binding in the community when everybody knows everybody. Everybody works together.
yeah,
These things like doing stuff for the homeless and doing the Toys for Tots run, man. There's nothing cooler than the community getting together to include the clubs and the motorcycle enthusiasts, the A-Bait guys, the MRF guys, the other MROs across our country, all of us coming together and 5,000, 6,000 bikes lined up,
oh yeah,
for Toys for Tots, or going to help feed the homeless, or Thanksgiving type stuff or Christmas type stuff. The things we do as volunteers throughout the year. When it's so big and bloated like it is now, where it's 9 million, there's a club for everything,
yeah,
and there's so much stuff going on. There's little support to help each other because it's just too much, man. I mean, um, believe it or not, 1%ers like to help the clubs in their community. And if there's
Yeah.
9,000 clubs in that area, it's kind of hard to help everybody. And then, of course, you get, well, you go help them. They like them more. No, it's like this past couple seasons, especially this past season coming out of COVID, everybody was doing something. They're all getting out there doing something.
Yeah.
This community is strong, and I see it strong when I come up through this young, that just how everybody really took care of everybody. Everybody really supported everybody. It wasn't a support club thing. It wasn't the dominance or being jerks thing. It was everybody. You had to be a part of the community, and being a
Right.
part of that community was taking care of your community, to include the MC community. And so
Absolutely.
I'm one of those guys that think we need to downsize. We need to get back to quality people. It's not about numbers. It's about
Yep.
quality, motorcycle clubs and what we stand for. And that pisses people off, but I don't care. I lived it, man. I had a blast with it. And it seems like all we hear now these days is bitching and complaining about how the motorcycle clubs the scenes like this is this and that is that. Well, I don't see it that way, man. I don't see that MCing's going away. I don't see that club life is going away. I see this strong and thriving. I just see some missteps. Sponsorship of guys is bad. Prospecting is not being done correctly. Guys are slipping through the cracks.
Right.
Background checks. Making guys hang around like they used to have to hang around forever just to be able to be part of a motorcycle club. So you get quality guys. This is a commitment to a life choice that it goes on just like a marriage. It should go on till death. So
Right.
we get back to those kind of things. Those are the kind of things I like to talk about because I've witnessed, coming up. I mean, man, I got 50-year guys in my club. I got 40-year guys in my club.
Yeah.
I've met,
Yeah.
30, 40, 50-year guys across this country in their clubs. Them guys did something right and something righteous for them, so many of them being together and they did it all through the years. Why are we trying to reinvent the wheel? And we really screwed it up.
Wow. Good
We
point.
got a lopsided wheel.
Good point. No, that's it. Archbishop says something like that a lot. Is that, well, hey, fuck it, you say it. You right here.
Well, since you imitating me, go ahead.
Okay, let me imitate. So, Archbishop says this thing when we talk about that reinventing the wheel thing. What comes up an awful lot is, man, we had this thing figured out once upon a time, and it's been around for decades. Why we got to mess it up? Why we got to mess it up? But that's a legitimate thing. Is that and I get it, technology and all like that. Technology are tools, but the ideology, the way of thinking, and the like the real stuff, that folks often forget. The brotherhood, the sense of community. I got your back, you got my back, that kind of a thing. And that extends outside of with MCs. It's literally, of course, it's about the brothers in your club. They're first and foremost, your brothers and your family, like that. But your community, where you are, like we always say with us, take care of the community. The community is going to take care of you. Because if you're a part of the community and you're active in that participation, other folks do it too. So, but anyway, I'll tell y'all what, man, this has been a fantastic subject, I think. And for all those folks who chimed in and shared a thought with us here and there, and the folks that called in, we just really appreciate the hell out of it. And I know this is going to come as a major shock to a lot of folks, but all right, what the hell, I'll tell you. We're going to do this again in about 7 days. We're going to be doing it again, and we're going to be chopping it up, and we'll come back and we'll talk about what happened at the Proc and all of this kind of stuff. And we're going to have
I'll be driving. I think we ought to do a live one on Saturday night or something.
You know what? That's coming up. We've been talking about we're going to do some lives.
Black Dragon's supposed to be there. And
from a location, like from a place other than in our individual spaces or whatever. We'll be out there in the world somewhere, so hell yeah. But yeah, Black Dragon's going to be there. It's going to be a lot of folks are going to be there. But
we need to stop though at the Home Depot and get one of them leaf blowers. That way, when Black Dragon sits down, we just turn that thing on and he's automatically fluffed. So we don't have to wait on it.
See, I tried that one time before. I went to Home Depot. They didn't have one. So I went to Walmart and the damn Walmart rider showed up and nobody wants that kind of smoke. Them dudes are serious.
Yeah.
Don't want no problem from the Walmart riders because they're real.
Should have walked in there with your Sam's card.
That's like, yeah, you got a Sam's card, they're gonna let you come through with no problems. You got to move
Right.
like that,
That's the big quantity house.
But I tell y'all what, we just absolutely appreciate y'all joining us tonight here on the Big Boneyard. Y'all stay plugged in throughout the week. If you have questions, concerns, something you're interested in, hit us up either on any of our, you got all of our social media. Let me see if I think we got some of it right here. Well, this is a me thing, but I'm going to throw up Archbishop. I got yours too, Shaggy. But y'all get at us. If you got a question, comment, concern, you can catch us on the Facebook page or right here. Make a comment. We follow that stuff, so we definitely appreciate y'all. But we're going to get the hell up on out of here because we're right at 2 hours tonight. And y'all rode with us and you rock with us tonight. And we just appreciate the hell out of it. But on behalf of myself, Dagon Archbishop, sir, and Dagon Uncle Shaggy 1%er, we'd like to thank y'all for joining us here tonight on the Big Boneyard. In the meantime, we will see y'all in 7 days, possibly less.
Welcome to the Big Boneyard. Enter at your own risk.
I decided to pursue a career in law because it gives me an opportunity to help people. When a client chooses us to represent them, they're entrusting us with a huge responsibility. It's our goal to exceed their expectations with our personalized service and to help them to achieve the best possible recovery to compensate them for their injuries.
That's where we come in. We come in and we solve that problem for them and really set them on the right track in order to try and get back to what their life was like before the accident happened.